So, like in other states, California allows provisional voting in our state. And provisional voting is governed by the California Elections Code, not surprisingly. It's set forth in Division 14, Chapter 3, Article 5, and is contained in Elections Code sections 14310 to 14314. The first section, 14310, provides that at all elections, a voter who claims to be properly registered, but whose qualification or entitlement to vote cannot be immediately established by reviewing the roster for the precinct or upon examination of the records on file with the county elections official, he or she must be entitled to vote a provisional ballot. According to the elections official must advise the voter of the voter's right to cast a provisional ballot. The voter has to be provided a provisional ballot, written instructions regarding the process and procedures for casting the provisional ballot, and a written affirmation regarding the voter's registration and eligibility to vote. The voter is required to execute in the presence of an elections official the written affirmation stating that the voter is eligible to vote and registered in the county where that voter desires to vote. Once voted, the voter's provisional ballot must be sealed in a provisional ballot envelope, and the ballot in that envelope is deposited into the ballot box. All provisional ballots voted must remain sealed in their envelopes for return to the county elections official in accordance with the election official's instructions. Now, the provisional ballot envelopes have to be a different color than the one that is used for vote by mail ballots, although printed substantially similarly. And it must be completed in the same manner as a vote by mail envelope. Then during the official canvass, the county elections official is required to examine the records with respect to all provisional ballots that have been cast. Using the procedures that apply to the comparison of signatures on vote by mail ballots, the elections official must compare the signature on each provisional ballot envelope with the signature on the voter's affidavit of registration or other signature in the voter registration record. If the signatures don't compare or the provisional ballot envelope is not signed, then the ballot must be rejected by the county elections official. A variation of the signature caused by the submission of initials for the first or middle name or both does not invalidate someone's ballot. Now, in addition, provisional ballots are prohibited from being included in any semi-official or official canvass, except under 3 specified circumstances. In addition, a voter may seek a court order regarding his or her own ballot at any time prior to completion of the official canvass. Any judicial action or appeal has priority over all other civil matters, and a fee cannot be charged for this action. In addition, the Secretary of State is required to establish a free access system that any voter who casts a provisional ballot may access to discover whether the voter's provisional ballot was counted, and if not, what was the reason that it was not counted. In section 14311, that specifies that a voter who has moved from one address to another within the same county and who is not re-registered to vote at his or her new address may at their option vote on the day of the election at the polling place at which he or she is entitled to vote based upon their current residence address or at the office of the county elections official. Section 14312 requires this article to be liberally construed in favor of the provisional voter, this article within the California Elections Code. Section 14313 provides that upon the declaration of a state of emergency by the governor and the issuance of an executive order that authorizes an emergency worker to cast a ballot outside his or her own precinct, then elections officials in the counties included in the executive order are required to issue to an emergency worker a provisional ballot that may be identical to any other provisional ballot offered to others in the county. And finally, Elections Code Section 14314 requires the Secretary of State to promulgate regulations establishing guidelines for county elections officials to follow relating to the processing of provisional ballots that have been submitted at the counties.